mind stayed on Spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Do it again. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. One more time. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Parker. I'm glad you're joining us this morning for our online service. My name's Reverend Rick McCullum, and I'm the senior minister here. We'd like to begin this morning by lighting of our unity candle. And so we light this candle, which represents the unity of spirit in each and every one of us. The flame of the divine is within us, and we know that it's within all of creation. At Center for Spiritual Living Parker, we welcome all paths to God, to the divine. We know that there is more than one way to experience a relationship with the God of your understanding. So we want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you're welcome here with us. And we're glad that you've joined us today. We have a 30-year goal as a spiritual organization. And I invite you now to say that 30-year goal with me. The Center for Spiritual Living Parker is a global resource to help people discover and live their spiritual truth. And the way we discover and live our spiritual truth is by learning about spiritual truths, and then how do we apply those to our lives. Today, we will be continuing to learn and to figure out how we apply these truths to our lives. I want to thank you for being here and invite you now to relax as we move into a time of music and meditation.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Good morning. My name is Kenny Johnson, and I am a practitioner in training at the Center for Spiritual Living in Parker, Colorado. I invite you to go within and focus on your breath. Soften your eyes and close them. Straighten your spine. Sit up straight. Push your hips back in your chair. Uncross your ankles, knees, and arms. Clear your lap if possible. Inhale and exhale through your nose, slowly and deeply until you find your rhythm. Place your hands on your thighs, palms up in a mode of receptivity. Your arms and shoulders are relaxed. The back of your neck is relaxed, allowing for the chin to come forward slightly. The face and jaw are natural and relaxed. Keep returning back to your breath. Stay with its flow, which soothes the mind. Every time we breathe, we are really breathing the divine breath. Breath is spirit, and spirit is life. God is closer than your breath. Breathing is the only system that has the dual nature of being both voluntary and involuntary. Which means, like thought, you can change it and change your state. Contemplate this. As you go about your day, remember that you have the power to change your state of being by changing your breathing and thoughts. When you are ready, begin to come back into the room. Wiggle your toes and fingers. Allow your eyes to flutter. Namaste. And so it is.
would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed, would the wind always fill up my sail? How far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a sea, are miracles in you and me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? If I refuse to listen to the voice of fear, with the voice of courage whisper in my ear, I am brave enough to move ahead, where true believers dare to tread. I'll never lose faith, even when losing my way. A step will I take today? I am brave. What will I do 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 today? I am brave.
Are you brave today? Thank you to our music team for that. We're finishing our June talk series on mindfulness for Mavericks, and today our talk is titled Mindful Action. To be mindful in our actions often means that we must be brave. This month we have been exploring, starting about our breath and how our breath can center us. Once we're centered with Spirit, through focusing on our breathing, then we can set mindful intentions. That means that we're thinking about and setting the intention of how we want our lives to be, what we want for ourselves and our world around us. Last week, Reverend Phil spoke about our words and the power of our words and how we use our language to speak into being our reality. And so being very mindful of our speech is so important to bring about those intentions that we have for our lives. This week, we're going to end with talking about how all of this leads us to action, mindful action, and that's what we want to explore today. The music team just sang, "I am brave." What would you do if you were brave today? Are you brave enough to move ahead? They were singing this. They were asking this. Michael Beckwith said, "When you truly have an insight or spiritual awakening, the next step is always action." This is what our talks have been leading us to this month, leading us to action. What will you do today? Are you brave enough to move ahead? Are you brave enough to step into the action that will bring about the intentions that you desire in your life? Mindfulness and mindful action here. Mindfulness is a state of being awake, aware, and present in the moment. Mindfulness means that our thoughts, our words, and our actions are all intentional. Are you practicing intentionality in your life? Are you practicing being fully present? This can go on even in mundane tasks like washing the dishes, folding the laundry, washing a car. When we train ourselves to be present to our connection, our union with the divine, as we do these different tasks throughout our day, we are cultivating that knowledge of the presence, of the power of the one Spirit that is within each of us. And that presence that is within us is surrounding us and guiding us each and every day. So as we cultivate that relationship with the divine, we're cultivating a mindfulness here for our entire life. Mindfulness gives us this opportunity to commune with Spirit, to commune with the divine. Our music team opened up today with singing the song, "I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Spirit." Now that is mindfulness. It calls us to action within our faith. When we're in this deep communion with Spirit, when we're aware that we are one with God and we are living from that place of oneness, we express that nature, that Spirit of God that is within us. And that spiritual living is mindful living. It calls us into action. So my question for you today, do you have a vision of living in deep communion with Spirit? Do you have a vision for living in this deep kind of communion with Spirit each and every day, where you can wake up and say, "My mind is stayed on Spirit"? Now, some people only think about God on Sundays when they're getting ready or going to church or at church. Others keep Spirit in their mind each and every day. Now, I'm not trying to judge people here. I'm only observing that there are different ways of living. This month, we've been looking at mindfulness for mavericks. And looking at what does that mean? To be mindful, we're talking, being present in the present moment, being aware and awake to that moment. And a maverick is someone who doesn't follow the crowd in how the crowd thinks and acts. So it really does explain most of us on a spiritual path. For many people on this spiritual path, they are usually called mavericks or some form like that because they're listening to spirit, following intuition. Is that how you're living your life? Are you listening to spirit? Are you waking up each day and hearing God speak to you? Are you following that still small voice within that wants to lead you into your highest and best good? Ernest Holmes, in his writing of Journey into Life, said, "Work without vision is drudgery, but vision without work is self-deception. A well-balanced person can walk with their head in the clouds and still keep their feet solidly planted on the ground. Faith and works are ineffective when separated." You see, Ernest Holmes is telling us that faith and works are inseparable. Our faith in spirit, in the greater good, knowing that unlimited possibilities are available to us, calls us into action. These past several weeks, we have been talking about setting intentions, speaking our word. And so think of it this way, if you will. Think about sitting in a room. You can affirm the presence of electricity. You can extol all of its virtues. But until you take action, until you bring a lamp into the room, plug it in, and turn it on, you're going to continue to sit in the dark. So the faith, the knowing that electricity will work, doesn't really do us much good, does it? Unless we take action. Take action to use that, and we can be mindful in using it in a positive way. You see, with the law of electricity will work no matter how you use it. So you can use it to cook your dinner, or you can use it to execute someone, to electrocute someone. The law only does what the law does. We are the ones that get to be mindful about how we're going to use law. And as spiritual beings, this is what we're doing. We're using spiritual law. So think about these names, these people: Jesus, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You see, these individuals didn't just pray, didn't just set the intention, but they took action. They took action on their faith and in their faith, knowing that the vision that they held for life was the vision that they wanted to bring into the world, to give birth to through their living in the world. Many would call each of these individuals mavericks. They were not following the crowd. In John chapter 14, verse 12, Jesus tells the apostles and is telling us, "These things and greater you shall do." Now, Jesus didn't say, "These things and greater should you pray for." He called us to action. These things and greater you shall do. Jesus knew that no matter what he had done, because he was one with the Father, he was breathing and in alignment with Spirit. We have that same alignment, that same possibility. And so we can do the same kinds of things. Jesus was our great example here, not our great exception. We get to breathe, to set our intentions, to speak our words, and then take action. Mindful action. So let me introduce you to another maverick, Bayard Rustin. Rustin was a maverick because he lived his life differently. Bayard Rustin was an openly gay man. He met Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the 1950s, and he began working with him as an organizer and strategist in 1955. He taught Dr. King about Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence, non-resistance, and he advised Dr. King on the tactics of civil disobedience. He assisted King with the boycott of segregated buses in Montgomery, Alabama in 1956. Most famously, Rustin was known as the primary organizer of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. And that was where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his legendary "I Have a Dream" speech, August 28, 1963. Later in his life, Rustin fought for equality for the LGBTQ plus community. So you see, he lived his life as a maverick, not going along with the crowd, but going along with his vision, with his life, and working to bring that into the world. Rustin said, "The proof that one truly believes is in action." He knew the importance of not just believing, but in taking action to support his beliefs, to live a life of nonviolence, to live a life of acceptance, to live a life helping to push the edge, to change the world, to see all people as equal. Rustin said, "The real radical is the person that has a vision of equality and is willing to do those things that will bring that reality closer to that vision." Now at Centers for Spiritual Living, we talk about creating a world that works for everyone. And when we say this, a world that works for everyone, to me, it means that we must live from spiritual principle. All people are individual expressions of the one God, one Spirit. That is a spiritual principle. And to live with that vision in our minds and in our hearts, spiritual principle like this leads to action. To me, that action is loving all people. It's accepting all people. It's seeing Spirit in all people. This action, then, also includes non-judgment, but recognizing that each person is an individualized expression. And in the diversity of human beings, there is also the unity that we are all Spirit. Nonviolence and peace are other actions that spiritual principle calls us to. So it's living our faith. It's putting our faith and our vision into work. In the Bible, it talks about faith without works is dead. So mindful action here is the faith that I'm talking about. What do you have faith in? Do you have faith in Spirit and unlimited possibilities? Can you see good and more good coming to you? Or do you see limitation? Ernest Holmes, in the book, The Essential Ernest Holmes, says, "You and I should form the habit of taking definite time each day to contemplate and affirm peace with justice. For there is no peace possible without justice. But faith without works is dead. We should not only pray, we should act, each contributing the best they have to the common purpose, each willing to make any sacrifice necessary. For there is can be no individual self-preservation without the preservation of all. To me, this means that we live from spiritual principle. Are you willing to live from spiritual principle? Are you interested in creating a world that works for everyone? Or do you think that you're better than other people? Maybe your belief is that you don't deserve what other people have. So if there is a belief that isn't seeing the equality in all people, you might need to do a little self-reflection. Where is that belief coming from? And does that serve you in the world today? As spiritual beings, we each have equal access to the abundance and the unlimited potential of spirit throughout the universe. There is unlimited possibilities for each and every individual. How are you using those unlimited possibilities? That infinite potential that's available to you? Are you creating mindful action for your life? Another maverick is Audre Lorde. She was an American writer, feminist, librarian, and poet. She recognized the power she had as a human being to have a voice and to have a heart. Audre said, "When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it makes no difference whether or not I am afraid." I love that. When she dares to be powerful, to use her strength in the service of her vision, it doesn't make any difference whether she is afraid. You see, when we're living from our passion, when we're living from our heart, from that vision that God has given us of an unlimited possibility for our life, something new and different, a maverick type idea here, then we are living, and it doesn't matter if we're afraid. We may be shaking in our boots, but we're willing to step forward. We're willing to do whatever it's going to take to bring about that vision for our life and to birth that into the world. To recognize that we are powerful beings, powerful spiritual beings. And I invite you to step into your authentic voice, your authentic power and love. This calls all of us to mindful action and to live from our heart and the vision that we have in our heart. Is that vision a world that works for everyone? Mavericks not only take action, but they encourage others and inspire others to do the same. Are you someone who encourages and inspires others to take action in the world, to live the love that is flowing from their heart? The mindful maverick prays to set their intention. That means that they breathe, they get connected with spirit, and then they set their intention. They pray that that comes forth through them. They meditate for divine discernment to make sure that they're staying in alignment with spirit. And then the mindful maverick takes action. They repeat this cycle again and again and again throughout their life. And so that's my prayer for each of us as we end this series on mindfulness. I invite you this week to take time to pray, to breathe and be in alignment with spirit, and then set your intentions. As you set your intentions for how you want to be in the world and show up in the world, meditate on that for divine discernment, to make sure that you continue in alignment with spirit. And then, from that meditation and that assurance, you can take action Follow your inner guide. Live the vision of your life. Be a mindful maverick, taking mindful action. Let us pray. Spirit, thank you for your message today. Thank you for how you have helped us to pause and see that through our connection with you, we are unlimited and powerful spiritual beings. Help us to know this truth of ourselves and to know the spiritual truths of life, that each and every person is an expression of you, God. And help us to see your love, your expression in each person we see this week. And so I bless each of us that we can take time to connect with you, that we can take time to set our mindful intentions, to look for the discernment from your intuition, from your guidance within us, and then know the action we need to take to bring about the world that we desire to live in. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for your faithfulness to us. I release this word into the law that always says yes. And together we seal it by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Enjoy your time in spiritual practice this week. Thank you. And now as we move into our time of offering, I invite you to continue your support and donations to the Center for Spiritual Living Parker. You can donate by clicking on the box at the top of the screen. You can donate via our website or through Zelle. Or if you'd like to mail in a check, we'll put our address, our mailing address for the TEC building on the screen as well. So however you're comfortable, I want you to know that I appreciate your continued financial support, as well as being with us online and looking forward to where we're headed in the future. And now, will you say with me our offering affirmation? Spirit is my source of infinite supply. With gratitude, I give freely, and I remain open to receive the abundance of the universe. And so it is. And now our offering song.
There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. At least 100 ways for me to receive the countless blessings, and so I believe. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. Do it again. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. At least 100 ways for me to
As we close our service today, I'd like to share with you a special announcement. I have found that in February, I was told by my doctor that I'm having some problems with my heart. I've had problems throughout my life, but it's never impacted me before. And in February, the end of February, the doctor was telling me that it has started to really take a toll on my heart. And so they wanted to implant a defibrillator in me. That, when they got it scheduled, was the same time that COVID hit. And so I have been waiting for 2.5 months to have that surgery. So while we've been in quarantine, while we've all been apart, I have had my own little challenges here with my health. And being mindful, our mindful action that we have been talking about today, I have needed to make some decisions for my own health. And the doctor has told me that it would be much easier on me and I would feel so much better if I was at sea level rather than at this elevation. So with a heavy heart, I tell you that I have resigned from CSL Parker and that the end of July will be the end of my time serving as your senior minister. I have been communicating with the board and they are doing their work at how they will lead you forward. And so I want you to know that we're in good hands through our leadership team. But I will be talking in July about change in a spiritual community. And then the end of July, I will be transitioning out of my role here, and Tom and I will be moving to Florida so that I will feel better and be at an altitude that's not putting a strain on my heart. So I need to share that information with you. Our service that we are planning for July the 19th, the in-person service, I plan to do some sort of a ritual with us so that we'll have some time to say goodbye to each other, to release me from this position, and to look to the future for CSL Parker. This spiritual organization is very strong. It's thriving. And that's my mindful intention, is that I leave this spiritual community in a position where you all will continue to grow and to thrive. Good things are coming. And so I'm excited for the experience that you'll be able to go through, while my heart is heavy that I won't be a part of that. So thank you for your love and support through the years that I have been here and my time serving. I appreciate your love and all that you have done to help grow and make this a wonderful spiritual community, so loving. Thank you. And now our benediction. Know that as you go from this place, you go held in the arms of the divine. Spirit is with you each and every day. I pray, God, that you will help each of us to wake up each morning with our minds stayed on you, that we will be able to continue our spiritual practice to grow and develop that loving relationship with you. Thank you for each person here. Thank you for this wonderful spiritual community and how they have embraced me and loved me. I bless CSL Parker. I bless each person listening to us today, and I know that as we leave from this place, we leave guided, guarded, and protected with your loving care. I release my word, and we seal it by saying together, and so it is. And now our closing song.
to be humble, to be kind. It is a giving of the peace in your mind, to a stranger, to a friend, to give in such a way that has no end. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. And to be bold, to be brave, it is the thinking that the heart can still be saved, and the darkness can come quick. The danger's in the anger and in the hanging on to it. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other, nothing more. And tell me what it is that you see, a world that's full of endless possibility. And heroes don't look like they used to, they look like you do. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace,